A homeless boy runs toward a stranded car in the dead of night. Inside, a pregnant woman is crying out in pain. Her life and her baby's life are slipping away. Malik takes her hand and promises, "You're not alone." What he doesn't know is that she's the wife of a billionaire CEO, and helping her will change his life forever. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss stories like this one. The city didn't forgive the weak. Its skyscrapers glittered with gold at night, but below, in the forgotten alleys and under crumbling bridges, life was a daily battle. 17-year-old Malik Johnson knew this truth better than most. The cold autumn air stung his face as he huddled beneath an old wool blanket, the only shield he had against the biting wind. The underside of the bridge was damp, the concrete walls scarred with graffiti. Cardboard boxes, crushed cans, and abandoned bottles littered the ground, remnants of others who, like Malik, had made this place their reluctant home. He pulled his knees close to his chest, trying to preserve body heat. His stomach growled painfully. It had been more than 24 hours since his last real meal. Sometimes, Malik would get lucky. A passerby might hand him a sandwich, or a diner worker would toss him leftovers wrapped in foil. Other times, he went to sleep hungry, convincing himself that tomorrow would be different. It has to be different, he thought, staring at the distant glow of the city lights. Malik hadn't always been homeless. 2 years ago, he'd lived in a small rented apartment with his mother, Angela. She was a kind woman, hard-working, the type who always smiled even when her back ached from double shifts at the diner. Malik used to wait up for her, heating soup on the stove and telling her about his day at school. But then, illness struck. Angela's heart condition worsened, and despite her strength, she passed away one winter night. Malik's father, overwhelmed and unable to cope, turned to alcohol and eventually disappeared from Malik's life altogether. Left alone, Malik had no relatives willing to take him in. Foster homes came and went, but none lasted. By 16, he had slipped through the cracks, living on the streets, invisible to the world. Despite his circumstances, Malik refused to give up. He still carried dreams of finishing school, of one day becoming a mechanic. He loved fixing things. Even as a kid, he'd take apart radios and try to put them back together. But now, his tools were gone, his opportunities stolen by life's cruelty. Still, every morning when he woke up beneath that bridge, Malik told himself, "I'm not going to be here forever. This isn't my story's end." On this particular night, the city seemed quieter than usual. The air carried the faint hum of traffic from a highway a few blocks away. Malik decided to stretch his legs, wandering toward the bus station in search of discarded food. His sneakers, worn and torn, slapped against the pavement. He kept his head low, avoiding the curious glances of late-night travelers. He was halfway down the long stretch of road when something unusual caught his eye. A black SUV parked on the shoulder, its hazard lights flashing. The vehicle looked out of place in this area, far too expensive to be abandoned here. Malik slowed his pace, curiosity and caution battling within him. Then he heard it. A voice. Weak, trembling, desperate. "Help! Please, someone!" Malik froze, his heart pounding. The sound came from near the SUV. He squinted through the darkness and saw a figure leaning against the car door, clutching her stomach. Something told him that his life was about to change forever. Malik's first instinct was to retreat. Trouble on the roadside usually meant police, angry drivers, or worse, people who would take one look at a homeless boy and accuse him of something he didn't do. He had learned that staying invisible was the safest way to survive. But that voice, weak, shaking, desperate, cut through his fear. "Please, anyone, help me." Malik hesitated only a second longer before his conscience overpowered his instinct. He jogged closer, the gravel crunching under his thin sneakers. The SUV's taillights glowed red in the dark, illuminating the figure beside the car. It was a woman, young and visibly pregnant. Sweat dripped from her forehead despite the chill in the air. She leaned heavily against the vehicle, one arm wrapped around her swollen belly, the other gripping the car door as if it were the only thing keeping her upright. "Ma'am, are you okay?" Malik asked, his voice cautious but urgent. The woman lifted her head, her face pale and drawn. She looked no older than her late 20s. I think the baby's coming," she stammered, her voice breaking with pain. Malik's eyes widened. He had never been around anyone giving birth before. His chest tightened as panic threatened to rise, but he forced himself to stay calm. Okay, he said, raising his hand slightly in reassurance. "Just breathe. I'll help you. What's your name?" "Sophia," she gasped. "Sophia Carter." She tried to steady her breathing but winced as another contraction surged through her body. She let out a cry, tears filling her eyes. Malik moved closer, instinctively offering his arm. "Here, sit down. Lean on me." Sophia lowered herself carefully to the edge of the SUV's seat, clutching her stomach. Her phone sat lifeless on the dashboard, the screen black. Malik spotted it instantly. "My phone died," she muttered. I can't call anyone. Please, help me." Malik's mind raced. He had no phone, no money for a cab, and no car. The nearest hospital was miles away. But he couldn't just leave her here. "Don't worry, I've got you," he said firmly, though inside he felt anything but confident. He glanced up and down the road. The stretch of highway was eerily empty. No cars, no pedestrians. The only lights came from the SUV's flashing hazards and a gas station sign faintly glowing in the distance, maybe a mile away. That's it, Malik thought. The gas station. He turned back to Sophia, kneeling so their eyes met. "Listen, I'm going to run to that gas station. I'll get someone to call an ambulance. But you have to hold on until I get back." Sophia shook her head quickly, fear etched on her face. "Don't leave me, please. I can't do this alone." Her trembling hand reached for his, gripping tightly. Malik felt her desperation like a physical weight pressing on him. He knew she was terrified. He swallowed hard, trying to steady his voice. "I'll be back as fast as I can. You're stronger than you think. Just breathe. In and out. You can do this." She stared at him, searching his face, and finally gave a weak nod. Malik squeezed her hand once, then gently placed it over her belly. "For the baby," he said softly, before bolting into the night. His legs moved faster than they ever had before. Every stride sent shockwaves of pain through his empty stomach, but he didn't stop. He thought of Sophia's pale face, the way she cried out in pain, and the unborn baby struggling to come into the world. The mile to the gas station felt endless. His sneakers slapped against the pavement, lungs burning, throat dry. He pushed harder, whispering under his breath, "Come on, Malik. Don't stop now. She's counting on you." Finally, the gas station lights grew brighter. He stumbled inside, breathless, startling the night clerk who had been half asleep behind the counter. "Call an ambulance," Malik shouted, clutching his chest. "There's a woman. She's pregnant. She's having the baby right now, on the highway. The clerk jumped into action, dialing immediately. Malik, not waiting for confirmation, grabbed 2 bottles of water and a handful of paper towels from the counter. The clerk shouted after him, but Malik was already out the door, sprinting back into the night. He didn't care if someone accused him of stealing. He didn't care that his legs felt like lead. All that mattered was getting back to Sophia. And as he ran, he prayed silently, something he hadn't done since his mother died. Please, God, don't let me be too late. By the time Malik reached the SUV again, his chest was on fire. His legs wobbled beneath him, and his breath came in ragged gasps. But the sight of Sophia nearly brought him to his knees. She was slumped against the car seat, her face pale, strands of hair clinging to her damp forehead. Her breaths came quick and shallow, every few seconds broken by a low cry of pain. "I'm here," Malik said quickly, dropping the bottles of water beside her. He crouched down, his hands trembling but steady enough to hold one of hers. "Ambulance is on the way. You just need to hold on a little longer." Tears spilled down Sophia's cheeks. I can't do this." "Yes, you can," Malik said firmly, surprising himself with the certainty in his voice. "Listen to me, Sophia. You're stronger than you know. You're not alone. I'm right here with you." Another contraction ripped through her, and she let out a scream that echoed into the night. She squeezed Malik's hand so hard that his knuckles cracked. He winced but didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned closer, guiding her through the pain. "Breathe with me. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Just like that. Come on, look at me." Her eyes met his, wide with fear. But she followed his rhythm, gasping and then blowing the air out slowly. The trembling in her shoulders lessened just slightly, enough to give her a sliver of control. Minutes dragged on like hours. The road remained empty, and still no flashing lights appeared on the horizon. Malik felt his chest tighten with worry. What if the ambulance didn't come in time? He forced the thought away. He couldn't let fear control him, not when Sophia was depending on him. "Talk to me," he urged, trying to distract her from the pain. "Tell me about your baby. Do you know if it's a boy or girl?" Sophia gave a weak laugh between cries. "A boy. We're having a boy." Malik smiled despite the situation. "That's amazing. He's going to be strong, just like his mom." Her grip on his hand softened for a moment. "What about you? What's your name?" "Malik." She whispered it back to herself, almost like she was committing it to memory. "Malik, don't leave me. I'm not going anywhere." Another wave of pain hit her, and her body tensed. She cried out, doubling forward, her entire frame trembling. Malik panicked as he saw the unmistakable signs. Her water had broken. His mind raced. No, this can't be happening right here. Not now. He grabbed the paper towels and water, fumbling to make her as comfortable as possible. He spread his worn hoodie across the seat, creating a makeshift cushion. His own hunger and exhaustion were forgotten, everything in him focused on keeping her safe. "You're okay, Sophia. Just breathe. You and your baby are going to be fine." Her cries grew louder, more frequent, and Malik realized with a jolt that they might not make it to the hospital before the baby arrived. Fear clawed at his chest, but at the same time, a fierce determination rose in him. He thought of his mother, how she had always been calm under pressure, how she had told him once, "Son, when people need you, you don't think about yourself. You just act." That memory steadied him. He looked at Sophia and said with newfound confidence, "Whatever happens, I'm not letting anything happen to you or your baby." Do you hear me? You're safe." Sophia's sobs slowed, and for a fleeting moment she believed him. Then another contraction ripped through the night, and Malik knew they were running out of time. The air was heavy with tension. The only sounds were Sophia's labored breaths, her cries of pain, and the distant hum of the highway. Malik's heart pounded as he realized the truth. This baby wasn't waiting for an ambulance. Sophia gripped his arm, her nails digging into his skin. "It's happening, Malik. I can't stop it." His throat went dry. Okay, just hang on, you're going to be fine." But even as he spoke, Malik could see the panic in her eyes. Sweat streamed down her face, and her body shook with every contraction. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted quietly, his voice cracking. But then he steadied himself. "I'll figure it out. Just trust me." Sophia let out a desperate sob. "Please, don't let anything happen to my baby." "I won't," Malik promised. He laid his hoodie flat on the seat, creating a cleaner surface. He soaked some paper towels with water from the bottle and dabbed them gently against her forehead. "You're not alone. I'm here. Just focus on me, okay? Look at me." Her wide, frightened eyes locked onto his. "Good," Malik encouraged. "Now, when the pain comes, push. And keep breathing. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I'll be right here with you the whole time." Sophia nodded weakly, bracing herself as another contraction surged. She screamed, clutching his hand like it was her lifeline. Minutes felt like hours. Malik guided her, panicking on the inside but never showing it on his face. He kept his tone steady, repeating words of encouragement. "You're doing great. Just a little more. You're stronger than you think." Sophia cried out again, her entire body tensing as she pushed. Malik's pulse raced. He had no training, no experience, nothing but sheer determination and instinct. But then, in the middle of the chaos, he heard it, the faint, fragile cry of a newborn. Sophia gasped in relief, collapsing against the seat. Tears streamed down her face as Malik carefully lifted the tiny baby into his arms. The infant was so small, so delicate, with tiny fists curled tight and skin flushed red from the effort of entering the world. For a moment, Malik was frozen, staring in awe. He had never held a baby before, and now here he was, holding life itself. The baby let out another weak cry, and Malik's instincts kicked in. He quickly wrapped the child in his hoodie, cradling him against his chest. "You're okay," Malik whispered softly, rocking him gently. "You're safe now." Sophia sobbed, reaching out. Is he okay?" Malik leaned closer, showing her the tiny boy. "He's perfect." The baby whimpered, then settled, his breathing slow and steady. Malik placed him carefully into Sophia's arms. She clutched her son, kissing his damp forehead, her tears falling onto his tiny cheeks. "You saved us," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You saved my baby." Malik sat beside her, exhaustion flooding his body. He could barely believe what had just happened. His chest still ached from running, his hands shook from adrenaline, but in that moment, none of it mattered. Headlights suddenly pierced the darkness. Red and blue lights flashed as the long-awaited ambulance pulled onto the shoulder. Paramedics rushed out, their voices urgent as they assessed the situation. "We've got a mother and newborn here," one shouted. They moved quickly, checking both Sophia and the baby. Malik backed away, giving them space, but one of the paramedics paused to glance at him. "You were with them?" the medic asked. Malik nodded slowly. "Yeah, she was alone. I just did what I could." The medic gave him a long look before nodding with respect. You did good, kid. Real good. Malik watched as they carefully placed Sophia and her baby onto stretchers, preparing to transport them to the hospital. Sophia, weak but conscious, looked around until her eyes found him. Her lips trembled into a smile. "Thank you, Malik. I'll never forget you." He gave her a small nod, too overwhelmed to speak. As the ambulance drove away, Malik stood alone on the roadside, the cold wind brushing against his face. He looked down at his empty arms where the baby had been, feeling a strange mix of loss and hope. For the first time in years, he had mattered. He had been needed. And though he didn't know it yet, that night would change his life forever. The next morning, Malik woke up under the bridge, sore and exhausted. He had hardly slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Sophia's face contorted in pain, then her tears of joy when the baby cried for the first time. He lay there staring at the gray concrete above him, wondering if it had all been a dream. But the faint traces of dried blood on his hoodie, the one he'd wrapped the baby in, told him it was real. I actually helped deliver a baby, he thought, still in disbelief. A homeless kid with nothing had saved the lives of a mother and her newborn. For the first time in years, Malik felt like he wasn't invisible. But soon, reality returned. His stomach growled loudly, and the familiar ache of hunger gnawed at him. He sat up, pulled the hoodie closer around his shoulders, and whispered, back to the same old life. What he didn't know was that far across the city, in a mansion guarded by tall gates and manicured lawns, his name was on someone's lips. Sophia lay in a private hospital suite, her newborn son resting peacefully beside her. Her husband, Alexander Carter, stood by the bed, his tailored suit immaculate despite having rushed there in the middle of the night. Alexander Carter was one of the most powerful men in the country, a billionaire CEO who built his empire from scratch. He was respected, feared, and admired in equal measure. Yet at that moment, he wasn't thinking about his business empire, board meetings, or stock prices. His entire focus was on his wife and newborn son. He gently stroked Sophia's hair. "Are you sure you're okay?" he asked, his voice soft, full of concern. Sophia smiled weakly. "We're both okay, because of him." Alexander frowned. "Because of who?" "The boy," Sophia said. Her eyes softened as she recalled the night before. "A young boy. Homeless, I think. He came out of nowhere and helped me when I had no one. He held my hand, calmed me, even helped deliver our son before the paramedics arrived." Alexander's brows furrowed. "A boy. Alone. On the highway at night." "Yes," Sophia whispered, tears filling her eyes. "If not for him, I don't think we'd be here right now. He saved us, Alex. Both of us." For a moment, Alexander stood in silence, absorbing her words. He was a man who rarely showed emotion in public, but his chest tightened with gratitude and disbelief. "What's his name?" he asked. "Malik," she replied softly. "His name is Malik." Alexander turned away, pulling out his phone. "I'm going to find him." Sophia reached for his hand. "Promise me something. Don't just thank him. Help him." He looked like he hadn't eaten in days. No one should live like that, especially not someone with a heart as kind as his. Alexander met her gaze, his jaw set with determination. "I'll do more than thank him." That afternoon, Malik sat near the train station, his head bowed as people bustled past him. Some spared him a quick glance, most ignored him. He nibbled on a half-eaten sandwich he had found in a discarded bag. The screech of tires pulled his attention. A sleek black car pulled up in front of him, followed by two more luxury vehicles. Malik stiffened. The tinted windows rolled down, and a man in a sharp suit stepped out. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried himself with authority. His very presence made people stop and stare. Malik instantly recognized him from television and billboards. "Are you Malik Johnson?" the man asked, his deep voice commanding yet calm. Malik froze. "Why, yes, sir." The man stepped closer, extending his hand. "My name is Alexander Carter. You saved my wife and son last night." Malik blinked, his mind reeling. Wife, son. The reality hit him. Sophia was this man's wife. He hadn't just helped a random woman on the roadside. He had helped the family of a billionaire. I just did what anyone would do," Malik stammered, his eyes lowering. "No," Alexander said firmly. "Most people would have walked away. But you didn't. You risked yourself to help her. For that, I owe you everything." Malik shook his head quickly. "I don't want anything. She needed help. That's all that mattered." Alexander studied him for a long moment. The boy's clothes were tattered, his shoes barely holding together, his face thin from hunger. Yet his eyes carried a rare strength, a humility and honesty that Alexander had seen in very few people, even among billionaires. "You may not want anything," Alexander said slowly, "but you deserve everything. Come with me. I want to change your life." Behind him, one of the car doors opened. Sophia stepped out, holding the newborn bundled in Malik's old hoodie. She smiled at Malik, her eyes brimming with gratitude. "We named him Malik Carter," she said softly. "After you." The boy's mouth fell open. His knees nearly buckled. "Why, you named your son after me?" Sophia nodded, her smile trembling. "Because you gave him his first chance at life. He'll always carry your name." Tears blurred Malik's vision. He turned his face away, embarrassed, but Sophia stepped closer, gently touching his arm. "Come with us, Malik. Let us help you the way you helped us." For the first time in years, Malik felt something he thought he'd lost forever: hope. The sound of Sophia's cries filled the deserted road, echoing into the night like a desperate call to heaven. Malik's heart raced, every instinct screaming that time was running out. He had never felt so small, yet so needed. Sophia clutched his arm, her nails digging into his skin as another contraction overtook her. Sweat poured down her face. She shook her head violently. I can't. It's too much." "Yes, you can," Malik insisted, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. He brushed damp strands of hair from her face. "You've already made it this far. Just a little longer. Think about your son. He's waiting to meet you." Sophia's lips trembled, and for the briefest moment, her eyes softened with hope. But then her body tensed again, a scream ripping through her throat. Malik grabbed the water and offered her small sips between breaths. His old hoodie, laid across the back seat, was now her makeshift cushion. Minutes felt like hours. The empty road stayed silent. No ambulance, no help. Malik's chest tightened with dread. What if I have to deliver this baby myself? He knew nothing about childbirth, yet the thought of giving up never crossed his mind. "Stay with me," he whispered fiercely. "I promised you I wouldn't leave, and I won't. You and your baby are going to make it." Suddenly, headlights pierced the darkness. Red and blue lights flashed, racing toward them. Malik almost collapsed with relief as the ambulance screeched to a halt beside the SUV. Two paramedics jumped out, rushing with equipment. One of them glanced at Malik, wide-eyed. "Kid, you did good keeping her stable. We'll take it from here." But Sophia's hand shot out, clutching Malik's with surprising strength. "No, he stays," she gasped. "Please, don't let him leave." The paramedics exchanged a quick glance and nodded. Malik climbed into the back of the ambulance, never letting go of her hand. He sat beside her as the paramedics worked swiftly, checking vitals, preparing for delivery. Sophia's cries grew louder, sharper. Her face twisted with pain, but Malik kept whispering encouragements. "Breathe with me. You're stronger than this pain. Just one push at a time. You've got this." And then, amid the chaos and fear, a new sound broke through, the fragile, piercing cry of a newborn baby. The paramedic smiled, holding up a tiny, wriggling boy. "He's here. Healthy and strong." Tears streamed down Sophia's cheeks as they placed the baby in her arms. She looked at him with wonder, her trembling lips pressing against his damp forehead. Malik's throat tightened as he watched, overwhelmed by the miracle unfolding before him. Sophia turned her tear-filled eyes to him. "Malik, thank you. You saved both of us." Malik swallowed hard, blinking away tears. He didn't feel like a hero. He was just a homeless boy who had refused to walk away. But in Sophia's eyes, he was so much more. The ambulance roared back to life, heading toward the hospital. Malik sat in stunned silence, still holding Sophia's hand, while the newborn's cries filled the air like a song of hope. For the first time in years, Malik felt something stir deep in his chest, something he had thought was lost forever. Belonging. And though he had no idea what awaited him at the hospital, or who Sophia truly was, one thing was certain: that night had changed everything.